My girlfriend was raped by a friend at a party I was uncomfortable with her going to. I found out she lied and omitted the fact that she was in the process of sleeping with him. She's both financially and emotionally dependent on me, and I need advice. Hi guys, how you doing? Please listen to this story carefully and kindly share your advice with the owner of the story. Thank you. Then I'll be reading. I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes trying to figure out how to start this. My head is completely spinning. My thoughts are just all over the place. I guess with the backstory, I've been dating Sarah, not using her real names, for just under 2 years now. She has a close friend, John, who she's known since she was a child. I've never liked him. He was always a little creepy, blatantly flirted with Sarah for the entirety of our relationship, and made occasional passes that I was not comfortable with. So to cut the story, 2 weeks back, Sarah and I were invited to a gathering by a mutual friend. I had a workshop that night, so I couldn't attend, and with current circumstances, I was never inclined to go anyways. I didn't want Sarah to go either, but she was very adamant, and I guess I just didn't want an argument, so I said fine. We ended up running into John later that day, and he mentioned the same party and asked us if we had been invited as well. My girlfriend told him she was going, but I wasn't. And he got this weird smile on his face and said something along the line, if you are going, I guess I have to go. Just something about his smile and the way he said really rubbed me the wrong way. Plus, I didn't want to be possessive, but the idea of the both of them together all night at a party did not sit well with me. After we got back to our apartment, I told her, a bit more firmly this time, that I'm not comfortable with her going to the party, especially with John there. She told me I was overreacting and shut down the conversation that night. I'm sure most of you can figure out where this is going. I went to the workshop and she went to the party. It got to be like 2 a.m. and she hadn't gotten back and she was not answering my calls. Naturally, I was incredibly worried. About an hour later, one of our friends called me and told me she was found unconscious at the party and driven to the hospital. She was raped by John. After spending 2 days, including that night at the hospital and talking with the police, I took her home. She told me John drugged her and dragged her upstairs where it happened in one of the bedrooms. She was an absolute mess. She didn't want to go outside. She wasn't eating. Had terrible nightmares. I did everything I could to comfort her through the process. I was devastated for her and hated to see her like this. I know this makes me sound like a terrible person. I don't blame her for John assaulting her, but I couldn't get the fact that I tried more than once to dissuade her from going to the party and specifically saying her being with John makes me uncomfortable. I feel I could have done more to protect her and she should have listened to how I felt. Important side note, turns out John is literal living garbage. After her assault, we both felt it was best to get justice. There were drugs in her system and other physical indication of rape. We immediately filed a restraining order and the police opened an investigation. Within the span of a week, after news had gotten around, two other girls came forward with similar encounter with John. So the guy is basically a serial rapist. Cut to now, my girlfriend is still no better shape than she was 2 weeks ago. She gets panic attack out of nowhere. She lost like 15 pounds and absolutely refuses to leave her apartment even to seek therapy. I was committed to taking care of her and being there for her, but I got a call from one of my close friends, Sam, this morning. It was a long conversation, but basically boiled down to him as well as many others at the party that night. Saw Sarah flirting with John the entire beginning of the party. According to him and the people he had been talking to, she was at the very least imagined, if not being the initiator in this exchange with John. He also recounts that she wasn't blackout drunk or seemingly that out of it, and worst of all, many saw her holding John's hand, taking John upstairs. At this point, I feel like I want to vomit. He told me he wanted the situation to cool down a bit before telling me, and was going to tell me after the party what happened, but with her being taken to the hospital under the circumstance, he didn't feel it was the right time. I decided not to assume anything and asked her specifically what happened. She tried to tell me the same thing, that she was drugged and dragged to a bedroom. But when I told her what Sam had told me, the color completely drained from her face. She started to panic and I did my best to calm her down, but it was at least 30 minutes before she could catch her breath to speak. She was sobbing, but she was coherent enough to understand and basically confessed to cheating on me. She said she was drunk and hadn't been out for so long. She wanted some adventure. She admitted she was the one that took John to the bedroom and wasn't dragged there against her will. She kept apologizing and saying it was a terrible mistake and that nothing else was a lie. He did raped her. I believe the last part, as far as I can understand now, it was when they were in the bedroom fooling around, when he slipped something into air or something like that, then he forced himself on her. I don't know what to do anymore. She was raped, but to me, the everything before that time was her intending to cheat and actively cheating on me. I am devastated and I don't even want to look at her right now. I left the apartment and I'm currently at Sam's house. I don't know anything anymore. She lost her job to COVID. I pay rent for the apartment where her name isn't on the list and groceries. She's become completely emotionally dependent on me the past few weeks. If I did break up with her, she would have nowhere to go. And as much as I resent her, I don't want something terrible happening to her. Please, I need advice. I don't know what to do. As you can hear the story, please make sure that you drop your advise what you think this guy can do in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.